Snob, and this is the Toplofty Lounge for a smooth show for you today. Oh yeah, baby. In the 20, 19, 18, 17, 16, 15, baby. Yeah, here we go. In 11, 10, 9. Oh yeah, baby. Here we come. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's go. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Top Lofty Lounge episode 54 Conversations for the Elevated. Welcome to all my fellow snobs. This week, we got a little bit of what we're calling an independent study. We are looking at, we're talking about some movies and stuff that we saw recently. But before we do, I should introduce the person that your co-host for the show, the person who I'm going to be discussing this stuff. He's the man with all the answers. It's Cam. Say hello, Cam.
Good evening. Happy Father's Day, everyone. To all the fathers, pops, dads, papa-sans out there that make the world a better place.
Yes, happy Father's Day. I had a pretty relaxing Father's Day. I went out and did a little bit of yard work, but then it rained here again, so yeah. I uncovered we have a lot of grass, and I couldn't cut it early on. So when I finally cut it, it was really long. So I had to rake up all this grass, Cam. It's like there's that much of it. So I've been raking it up in piles and stuff, and then eventually slowly putting those piles into the place where the piles of grass go. And I uncovered, I was doing a little bit, and guess what I uncovered underneath this big pile of grass?
An insect nest of some sort.
No, a mole nest.
Oh,
with it looks like 4 little baby moles about the size of your thumb.
wow.
Squirming around in there. I'm like, oh, geez. The moles. So I didn't see any mother mole. I think they were moles. They were either moles or mice. Kind of hard to tell, but anyway, they could have been either. Anyway, put some grass back on the top of the mole, and we'll see if the mother mole comes back to move her babies, or maybe they're dead in the morning. We'll check it out. But anyway, I had to cover them up because the kid was there. I can't just look at the moles. Can't just stomp on them or something. But anyway, I like moles. And I mean, sorry, I don't like moles. They're a pain in the ass. They're digging holes in my yard. But
Yes, they. I had a childhood
they feed other stuff.
Childhood filled with mole activity.
Oh yeah,
in the yard when I was a kid, they were all over the place. So
they in the winter, we get a lot of snow, and then in the summer, in the spring when the snow's melting, you can get a certain spot. The cats will, go over. Sometimes in the winter, the cats will go over the snow, and they'll hear the moles, and they'll be jumping into the snow to try to get the moles. But in the, once the snow melts, you'll see these tracks on the ground where the moles have, it's obviously, they've run through here underneath the snow, and there's like grass and stuff that's been knocked away. And these little, like, oh, that was a mole nest or something. Yeah.
Well,
So,
we've got a neighborhood cat around here who has been in my yard a bit lately, and I kind of see it stalking around. A wild-ish cat. I'm not sure of the whole story, but it hangs out in my woodshed, and apparently has been waiting in a certain area. But I have a retaining wall, and there's what are they, ground squirrels or chipmunks that live in there, and so I think it just waits there for them to pop their heads up and pounces on them.
Yeah, we've got a bit of a squirrel thing going on right now too. So no frogs tonight because frog mating season is over. It's quiet now. No frogs; they're all done. But yeah, we got the squirrels are going crazy. They normally keep kind of far away from the house per se, close enough to the house, but they don't come up to the house, right? They usually sit
Unlike
over. They
unlike
usually.
chipmunks that love digging in the foundation.
Oh, really? Oh,
Yeah, they're
no,
little
we
a-holes,
don't have
man.
any.
They are a pain in the ass.
We just have the short-tailed or red-tailed squirrels. I think not the big
Mm.
black bushy ones. They're not around here, but yeah. So they they usually sit on the the trees by the garage and chitter away when the cats go by or something. Getting mad. But there's been a bunch of squirrels running up to the house and running underneath the deck and stuff like that lately, and they look a little bit smaller than the normal squirrel size. So we think they're
Oh, maybe they're babies.
squirrel teenagers, and they're getting they got their oats or something, so they're fighting with their their siblings. They're fighting, or I don't know what's going on. But yeah, something's up with them. It's a crazy time.
Yeah, I like regular
squirrels.
squirrels. They're not they don't cause me any trouble, but the chipmunks are really bad news.
Yeah. No, our squirrels are fine. They the wife feeds them sometimes, puts stuff out for them and stuff, and they fight with the blue jays who come over and steal their stuff because squirrels aren't too smart. They hide their stuff. They forget where most of it is.
Yeah, that's
and the blue
God's
jays
work.
just watch them.
That's God's cruel trick
Yeah.
on them.
And the blue jays are really smart. They watch them. They just watch them. Oh, there he goes. Puts that there, and then they go and they steal it. Like, that's a good thing. The squirrel gets mad, goes off somewhere else, puts it somewhere else, and they steal it, etc., etc. The whole circle of life. So, yeah. All right. Oh, so that was my. Hopefully I can get to the show. Feeling a little bit logy. I had a big steak. I was supposed to cook it on the barbecue, but there was a thunderstorm and lightning and stuff, and I didn't want to get electrocuted right before the show. So maybe after, but yeah. So I had to cook it on the stove, so that's not as great, but a little bit longer. So I just finished eating not too long ago. People are asking questions about the squirrels here.
Well,
are squirrels considered red or white meat? I'm not sure.
Did we say hello to everyone?
Oh, we didn't.
Let's do that.
All right. Let's say quick hello to everybody. Hello. What? Manjashir. Am I pronouncing that correctly? Weatherman. Good to see you. Who else? Dave's in the chat. Matt Tween is here. Is that it? Anybody else I missed?
James.
Oh, James. Good to see you, James. Yeah, James is back. I think that's about it. Some of the regulars. Yeah. Yeah. Did I miss anybody?
I think that's everybody.
I would say squirrels are red meat, which you do because they're kind of like, they'd be kind of gamey, right? Like deer or anything like that, right? Would you agree with that, Cam, or no?
Yeah, I would agree.
Little red squirrels around me. A few huge gray squirrels. Yeah, we don't have any big gray squirrels. All of them are the little red or short-tailed squirrels, they call them. I don't see most of the roadkill I see are not squirrels around here. Though I've almost run over a couple of them myself because they just dart in front of the car I'm going along. Yeah, we watch your cholesterol. That's what you need to know. Yeah, it's important. You got to make sure you keep your cholesterol low. Doctor's orders. Yeah, you don't really eat them. There's not much meat on them. They're pretty small. Yeah, but here in the dugout, I've got tons of critters all over the place. Moose, deer, skunks, porcupines. I got a couple families of prairie chickens, which are like partridges or what else are in that same family? Anyway, I think everyone knows prairie chickens. It's like a chicken that roosts in the. What else do they call them?
I've seen a lot, or not a lot, but there's been some, wildlife that I've never seen before around lately. There's some kind of strange, I don't know if it's a crane or something. That I've seen a couple of lately that again never saw in my life. The hawks have always been around, but they have really been. It was like when I was a kid, it would be rare to see one, right? But now
Oh,
they're all
really?
over the place. Yeah, they're you can they're really here. And a bald eagle. I spotted a bald eagle uh, a while back. Which
America.
yeah, exactly. They're
We don't have bald eagles. Well, at least not where not at my place. But we have the small hawks, like the short tailed or whatever they're called, short tailed hawks. Owls. We have a big owl, like a barn owl type, and you see him occasionally. Then we got the small little owls too, every once in a while.
Well,
one fell off a tree or something, got hit or something, and it got
oh no.
stunned. And this was in the winter, and we saw it. It was like, oh no, it flew into the window. That's what it was. It was lying there, twitching, and I'm like, so I had to go out. I'm the man. I got to do all this stuff. Got to go out and take the owl. I'm like, oh, it just stared at me. I'm like, I'll put it in the tree, and maybe it'll figure out what's going on. So we left it there for a couple hours, and then we're like, ugh. I went, it's still there. I'll go over to give it a poke to see if it fly away. No, it just sits there staring at me. So we have this guy on Facebook nearby in the area, and he does raptor stuff. He's a looks after raptors and stuff. So we phone him up, and he says, "Oh yeah, that's one of them little small owls. They're not very smart. It's probably gonna die. It'll just sit there and starve to death or die." And I'm like, "Oh, maybe you want to come and get him?" He's like, "All right, I'll come and get him." So we come and get him, and then I called him back the next day, and he's like, "Yeah, it died." So don't tell the kids. But yeah, those little owls aren't too smart. Yeah, we get tons of stuff around here.
I hear an owl, or what I believe to be an owl, for years and years, right? Who in the middle of the night, Never have I seen an owl. Despite that, it's like, I mean, it's got to be in my backyard, or a neighbor's yard, and
Yeah.
I have never seen one.
Well, I mean, it's funny because I'm here in the boonies, and I know these animals there, but I barely see them as well. Like, we've seen this owl in 20 years. We've seen this owl maybe a handful of times, and once as a silhouette on a tree far away, and then once we've got this giant tree in our backyard, and once on the top of that. But that's it. Like, they are, they don't seem to, they're pretty shy, I guess. I mean, rabbits. We have not tons of rabbits, but we have at least one rabbit. We were driving home one night, come onto the property and into the, driving down the driveway, and there's two of them on the driveway, staring, caught in the headlight look, and they're like, "Oh, let's get out of here!" Boom, big jackrabbits. But we hardly ever see them, and they're living, 50, 100 feet away from us, 200 feet, nearby. But who knows? Wild turkeys. Yeah, that's what prairie chickens are, our version of wild turkeys. They're not as fat. They're kind of skinny. I said we got a family of them living nearby. They sometimes strut across the property, like from one area to the other. You're like, oh, there they go. Oh, what's our new one? Oh, we got a muskrat. It's a muskrat. We see them every couple of years. They come by in this summer. I don't know where they go, but this one might have babies. There was some, the muskrat does the, how alligators, crocodiles do their thing where they lie on top of the water and they just sort of just below. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So this muskrat does that in the pond. He lies out. And you're like, is that a stick? No, it's a muskrat. And it's lying there doing its alligator impression. And the other day there was some chirping, like obviously some muskrat noises from, smaller ones. And there was some tail slapping, which this muskrat never does that, but I guess it was warning something else. Usually just, goes away. You come near, he's like, swims away somewhere else. But yeah. I've got two ponds, a big pond and a small pond in the lower area. And he sometimes goes from one to the other. You see him do across the grass. Oh, gotta go to the other place. Yeah.
So everybody loves nature talk, but should we move on?
Do you have do we have any do we have the most popular segment on the show? Do we have one of those today?
Well, I kind of normally I
okay wait
oh,
before you do, we got to do the intro. I just did a new intro. It's kind of the same, but it's new. Okay, so we're ready.
Sure.
All right, let's do the intro. time. All right.
That's
That was
great.
that was a real life picture of Cam in the top.
And my
top
lovely
corner.
assistants. Yes.
That's right. That's right.
So basically, I did go tool shopping as I often do, but the only thing that I'm trying to remember, did I buy something else? I couldn't pass up. They had a screaming deal on some a DeWalt titanium coated drill bit set today that was like $12. It's usually like 32 or something. And I have recently bought, some drill bits, also on sale, but so I didn't really need them, but my God, the cost was too good to pass up, so I got some more. So pretty nice. So
Anything
if
with
you,
titanium in it, it's got to be good.
well, it's titanium coated, they say. I don't really know. I
Oh.
mean, it's like they're kind of a gold color, so I don't really know how much titanium is there, but it's some sort of coating. Probably to reduce friction or whatever on the outside. But it's I don't know why these things go on sale, and there are a lot of times it's depending on the store. The store manager's just blowing out stuff they had or whatever, and this or that. So oddly enough, the same store had if you've ever been to a Lowe's, and they're all over the U.S., maybe in Canada, I'm not sure.
Yeah, actually we had one nearby, but it went out of business.
Oh, that's too bad. They're nice stores generally. They had they have like they call it their back wall or whatever, where it's like clearance items and things. And so I usually go back there and check it out. And they had a whole stack of like DeWalt hammer drills, and I've been looking for a hammer drill, and I use DeWalt products a lot. It's my main power tool brand. And so it was like $150. I'm like, it's not the greatest price, but it wasn't bad. And so they had a bunch of them sitting there, and I'm like, well, I'll check back. And then I went in there like Thursday or something, and they had this rack with I recognize all the other stuff that was on one of those back racks, like right near the door. I guess they were prepping for Father's Day or whatever, and they had the label was there that they knocked it down to $83, which is a super deal, but they were all gone, so I missed out on that one, unfortunately.
Oh, darn.
So you never know when you need to drill in some concrete, right?
Yeah, you never do. Yeah, I mean,
that's right.
For sure.
So that's all I got in terms of was the drill bits. But I did do some work. I think I mentioned last weekend, last Toplofty, I should say, that I was doing some work on my front door.
Ooh,
did
more on the door. I want to hear this.
Yeah, so it's really a beautification project to add some trim around the door, which is easier than it sounds because the door is inside, so you got to kind of do 3-dimensional trim, and there's a lot of well, there's some irregularities that you don't notice by eye, but they're there, and so a lot of intricate work, which gets to be a little tricky for me because I'm not the greatest at finish work, but doing all this finally got, throughout the last couple of weeks I was doing all this. I had to, get the finish on, because of course, you put one coat on, you got to wait 4 hours or 6 hours or whatever. And then you got to do the next coat and then the other side and, all this stuff. So it takes forever to do that kind of, finishing work. But lo and behold, miracle of miracles. And there's some other challenges with putting it up too, which I don't need to get into, but I couldn't just nail it up normally. So I had to use adhesive and a combination of fasteners, and every part was different and so on and so forth. Anyway, finally got it done. Yeah, I'm going to say it came out as a B plus, kind of end result. It is basically what I wanted. So that was somewhat gratifying to get done finally. And sorry, you got any hard hitting questions about that?
No, I'm just while you're talking, I'm just trying to find. I don't have a proper sound bite for that thing.
How about just applause? How about applause would be good?
I don't have applause. I gotta fix that.
I think you ought to know I'm feeling very depressed.
Oh, that's really not the right. That's not really right there, right? Anyway, yeah. That's great. Awesome. It worked out. The door is not. Is it still shiny or?
Yeah, it really didn't fade.
So you're just gonna you're gonna leave it, or you're
Yeah,
gonna?
I think so. It's the I ended up using a variety. Some of the stain was like stain and finish together and whatever, and the other one was like an external coating and such. So um, it they ended up matching fairly well. So I just said, okay, I'm just gonna leave it. Over time it might wear down or whatever, but it doesn't look too bad from the street. When you get up on it, it's more apparent, but it's okay.
All right, that's good. I'm gonna have to get proper music for. I didn't know we were gonna get a Dora update. Chat. I wasn't aware.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then if I can, I'll try to close this out because I know people aren't really here for this, but
If we can find enough titanium to make an SR-71, that would be cool.
okay, remind me to talk about titanium in a second. All right. Um, but another thing is, as you know, I've again regular viewers will remember that I've been bragging, or at least talking favorably about my tool bag that I've been packing up for home maintenance and so on and so forth. So I was called to go and at a remote location to hang up some office cabinetry, like these things you hang above desks, like that hold books or whatever. It's not a regular
Yeah.
shelf that you'd see in a house usually.
Kind of like a shelf, but
Yeah, it's like it's got a door on it that closes and everything.
yeah.
And so I go over to do that, and I said I'm just going to take my toolkit as is, and I did grab you know uh, some power tools that I knew I would need that aren't normally in that. So I took those things. I said because my goal is to have this kit have everything I need for pretty much any common job. So I take it there, and things are going fine. I take some shelves down and move some stuff around, simple stuff. And then I go to put up these other shelves, and miraculously, hey Herman, thanks for coming. Uh, so
Welcome,
so
Armin.
I'm yes. So I put these things up unexpectedly. As I said, I'm not the greatest with finish work, but the shelves both went up with relatively small amounts of difficulty, and they were both leveled in the end. So I got them both on the first try. So I'm going to call that a win. But there was I almost had a failure, in that there was an intercom system someone wanted me to move. So so I'm taking it apart and removing the wires and all that. And then there was a recessed screw, and I basically use bit drivers as opposed to um, a full or normal fixed screwdriver, and it was recessed to the point, and the hole for the screw was too big for the bit driver, because obviously it's a little bit bigger because you have to put a bit into it, so it's bigger than the shaft of a screwdriver. And I'm like, oh my god, it's like I had several screwdrivers and none of them fit, and it's like tried these different things, and I'm like, oh my god, I'm gonna have to go and get a regular Phillips screwdriver. But then I did remember I had a slim micro screwdriver that happens to have a Phillips 2 bit with it, so it's like a very small bit. Anyway, that fit, and I was able to do it. But so I barely passed on that one. But bottom line, it all worked out, and yeah, successful week actually working with tools. So pretty happy with that.
Awesome.
So
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I drink beer, but not. It's to me, it's like a summer hot drink, and it's kind of cold and wet here today. So I'm still working on this bottle of Templeton Rye. Yeah. Yeah. When I drink beer, I don't drink Molson or Bats. Those are Eastern beers.
mm.
We don't drink them. We're Westerners. BC Kokanee is kind of the standard too, but usually there's a whole bunch of these micro brewers that are much better.
I think your shadow drinking a 40.
Colt 45. Yeah, that's no 8%. Yeah, there's a
That's
fair.
malt liquor. That's not beer, right?
We don't. I'm pretty sure we could get Colt 45, but that stuff's not very good, is it? Like, I mean, geez.
Billy D. Williams would be very proud.
There's so much better stuff. I haven't seen Space Command. I know the one by Mark Zicree. That was the one you're talking about. He's involved with that one. I haven't seen it. I mean, I'm aware of his work and I've seen some of his shows and stuff, his videos, but I don't think I've seen the show. Yeah. Yeah. Just we're drinking early. It's Father's Day, so with that.
Yeah, go for it. All right. Anything else you got, or do you want to move on to our?
Let's get into the show.
I guess we should explain it though a little bit, right?
You should explain it. All right, you want to explain?
Well, independent study, because okay. When it comes down to it, we didn't have a topic, so but we happened to. For example, I watched Judge Dredd.
Finally,
exactly.
After I told you to watch it,
right? 2012 version, and I was sitting there, I'm like, oh, I'm going to watch that. I had some time, so I did, and well, spoiler, I loved it, but the point is, we just kind of did some things separately this week, and we thought we'd just kind of chit chat about them rather than have a official review, let's say.
Yeah, and we'll have I mean, when we first started the show, it was supposed to be sort of like just get together, relax, and talk about stuff. But then the more we did it, the more we got, we got to do research and stuff. But so we're trying to intersperse. Next week we're going to do anime. So we're finally going to do the anime stuff. Michael's going to come on, and we're finally going to do that. We'll do that next week. So that'll be more of a prep show. The first I wanted to talk about, Babylon 5 first. Since we finished the first season, you can check out on the channel. You get our Babylon 5 retrospective. Last on Wednesday, we did the wrap up where we talked about myself, Cam, Death Angel Shadow, and Jason all talked about what we thought of the first season. And I wanted to talk a little bit about this Wednesday. We're going to get right into it, and it's going to be season 2, episode 1. So we're going to get right into it. But I thought on this show, I would just mention one of the things. I talk a little bit about Babylon 5. Cam can't really make much comments because he's seen the whole thing. But I want to talk about where I think the show might be going, or what I expect for season 2, that kind of stuff. And I don't really know anything.
I will just comment, or I will not comment. I'll just make noises like and
interesting, blah blah.
Yes, right.
So, just for full disclosure, I have when we started the show, we started in January. I started in November watching. I watched all of season 1, and then I started watching part of season 2. The plan was to watch the whole thing, but then we talked about it. People are like, I'm curious to see what people who haven't seen anything think and that kind of stuff. So I stopped watching the show, like watching ahead. But I have seen the first couple of episodes of season 2. So, in about a month, I'll be like not knowing anything. But I thought I would talk about what I think season 2 is going to go towards, or maybe where the show is going in general, where, based on what I saw from season 1. So, that's good. Yeah, fascinating. Yeah. So I expect that season 2, I think that each episode is going to get a little more impactful in that there was a bunch of episodes in season 1, which were kind of, what do they call them? Jason always calls them something. I always forget what he calls them, but they're like one-off episodes where it's kind of a throwaway. They don't really add anything to the storyline.
Bottle episodes.
Episodes.
Yeah.
The
bottle episode is something specific where it's really like one.
They're all contained in something.
Yeah.
But and the thing is that Star Trek, for example, has a lot of those, but it's a different show, right? Part of the appeal of Babylon 5 is that it's supposedly written already. All 5 seasons are written. When they start, they know where they're going, and they're just so everything can, everything is going towards, one big finale ending. I think, filler episodes. So there was a couple of filler episodes in season 1. I expect that season 2 will have less filler episodes, and that I'm hoping. But also, every episode should have something that takes us towards wherever it is we're going. And there's a couple of hints that there's some sort of war coming. Maybe the Babylon 5 is going to blow up. Who knows what's happening? But I expect that. That's not really a story, thing. That's kind of a general show thing. Yeah, so I'm hoping that's going to happen. Also, so that's from a story perspective, where the story is going. I expect that we'll see. I think Londo, for example. It seems to me that he's kind of one of these. I've said this before. He's an ambassador, but he's kind of on the outs, or he doesn't care. Something, he's given up. I think he's going to be dragged back into Centauri politics. He might become, I think there's going to be. I think in the Centauri government seems pretty weak. I think there's going to be a coup in the Centauri government of some sort, maybe in another assassination similar to what happened with Earth. And I think he's going to come into province. He maybe become the emperor or become somebody important, which is kind of weird because then he would leave Babylon 5, wouldn't he? I would assume. So how can he's going to be off the show? I don't know. But anyway, I think he's going to be, there's going to be something, and he's kind of behind it, right? Because he's like pushing what's happening. He saved the day in the second last or third last episode where the final episode where they destroyed the Narn outpost. So he's becoming more important, I would think. And so, yeah, so I'm not sure, but I think something like that's going to happen with him. The Narn, I don't know. Jakar, he kind of took off at the end of the season, and he's off somewhere figuring something out. So I think it'll kind of depend on that. But I would expect that he would just be, like the Narn are, he would be opposing the Centauri, and if Londo becomes more important, he would oppose him even more. Yeah, does that make sense?
Sure.
Oh, he's being all. David is predicting some redirects. Yeah, I'm. The other, Delin is. I've seen what's going to happen. I've seen what's going to happen to Delin, so I think she's going to. I guess we can do spoilers here, right?
Wait, for what?
For Babylon 5, because it's not on our show. I think that my thing is I think Delin's gone into her cocoon to become something.
Well, you're speculating, right? You're not spoiling, are you?
I suppose she's become more, to become more human-like, or at least to understand the humans. I think that's her big thing. Her thing is she wants to understand the humans. So something she's doing in this thing, she's going to be experiencing humanity more, or I don't think she's going to turn into a human, but she's going to be. That's the reason she's doing this. She wants to learn more about humans and find out about us, I guess. Since Sinclair's not on the show anymore, I guess she's not going to stick with them. But I figure that's what she's going to be doing. Who else? Kosh. I didn't get to talk about a lot of him on our last show. I don't know what the heck is going on with the Vorlons. There's still a giant question mark, and I'm kind of I want to say pissed off, but I'm kind of like, hey, give us a little more about these guys. What's their problem? What's going on with them? What we know is very, very, very thin. So I don't know what to predict with them other than, this coming war with the shadows, whatever they are. I would suspect the Vorlons are most aware of what's coming on, and they're trying to, prevent it or stop it, or they're going to try to rally the other races, or at least nudge them to stop it. But I would like to know more about them. I don't know what the heck's going on with them.
Can I interject?
Of course.
So, I as you know, I'm a fan of the show, and I like where it goes and everything. But this is not spoilery. The show goes a certain direction and then it kind of shifts a little bit. It doesn't, like take a 180 or anything, but it goes off in a different direction. And honestly, I hate what happens with that, because maybe serves no purpose for me to be talking about this, but I guess the purpose would be, if you think things are going one way, don't be surprised if it goes a different way. Because it's, there are certain things that they kind of are directing you towards in certain ways, and it's like, oh yeah, that's really
Yeah.
it. And then it kind of happens, and then kind of doesn't happen, or it changes, or does something unexpected. So that's one of the good things about the show, I suppose. But or and that sense might be for me. It's like I kind of get my expectations up. It's like, oh yeah, that thing you're telegraphing, I really want to see that, and then it doesn't turn out, or it doesn't go that way as far as I think it would, or maybe falsely
Yeah.
anticipate it should. But yeah, it'll be interesting.
I'm okay with surprises. Like, I don't think that a story doesn't have to be, I sit down and I go, oh, I know what's going to happen at the end. I don't mind a few twists and turns and surprises, and the good guy doesn't always have to win. But yeah, I'm kind of just based on the first season, kind of what I'm thinking things go. Now I have to be, just to be completely honest, for the show, I often am Googling images to put together for stuff, and sometimes I'm trying my best to not get any spoilers, but it's a 30-year-old show, and sometimes you might Google Babylon 5 images, and some image will come up, and you'd be like, "Wow, what the hell?" Like that might be a kind of a spoiler. And I'll give an example. When I was prepping for the last show, I saw a picture of Veer, and he looked a little more dressy than normal. So I'm thinking that, I mean, this kind of makes sense. I'm thinking that he's probably, this is kind of a spoiler. I'm thinking he's probably going to take a more important role later on in the show than the role that he's taken now, which I would assume anyway, because, when you're an aide to an important person, a lot of times it's a step up towards, other things. That's why you intern for, Joe Biden when you're young, when he's a senator, because when he becomes president, maybe you'll get a better job, right? If he becomes, right? So, that's good. So I try to keep away from them, but sometimes, yeah. Okay, I talked about all the aliens, the humans. I'm not sure. I mean, I expect that the humans will carry on. There's obviously some, there's an assassin. We know this has been an assassination attempt. I would hope that the Babylon 5 people would keep looking into that. But the truth is, and maybe they would be a catalyst towards, the fall of the illegal Earth government in the future. This one with the vice president as president, when I assume he was in on the assassination since he got a cold and wasn't on the ship. They're going to find out and maybe overthrow it, but I don't know. I mean, Earth is way over here. Babylon 5 is way over here. Really, can these guys do anything about it? I mean, maybe they don't have anything to do with it. Maybe he gets overthrown and they have nothing to do with it. Maybe he carries on. I'm not sure. Yeah. Well, the humans. Who did I miss? Who else should I talk about?
If I could comment.
Okay,
again,
yes, please.
Without spoilers.
Of course.
Veer, I think, is one of... He goes places, I mean, if anybody had been listening to the last show of our wrap up of season 1, which was last Wednesday, I listed Veer as my least favorite of the aliens. I think
you did, which I thought was a mistake.
And now, spoiler: Veer is not my least favorite character by any means. I actually really like Veer. I just think he was kind of weak in the first season and kind of shallow and not particularly well presented. He had a few good moments, but Veer, boy, he might have one of the best arcs in the entire show. Again, no spoilers, but his undeniably his character goes places, and develops. So
look at you guys giving out spoilers.
I'm not giving out. That's not a spoiler.
These guys. Not you, these guys. And no, we haven't talked about Dread yet. We're starting with Babylon 5, then we'll go to Dread and Dark City. Yeah. So I mean, it's just like I said in the show, I think that all three have been very well portrayed. I think, you know, is Veer weaker? His portrayal weaker than the other two? Yes, but you know, he's kind of a bit of an you know, he's playing the obsequious, you know, sort of subservient aid, because that's what Londo wants, right? He wants someone he can just bark at and insult and say things and put down, while you know, Delin is not like that at all. I mean, she's more of a mentor to Lanier, because that's the character of their race. And Natoth is basically, would you know, the Narn are like, yeah, we don't take shit from anybody. That's my impression. So you know, Natoth will do what she's told, but she's not going to be treated with disrespect or talked down to.
Yeah, and the thing
that's kind of their, you know, their races.
I think the thing that I like about Natoth, and I don't remember liking Natoth particularly, but in the rewatch of this, I'm like, I like her for the fact, related to what you just said, is that she legitimately doesn't give a crap, right? It's just like, oh, blah blah. She's just like, meh, you know, she doesn't care.
Jakar's getting on with his 3 humans. Who cares?
Yeah, but I mean, you know, she has no interest in kissing ass. You know, I mean, absolutely
yes.
none.
And that gives you something about the Narn, what they're like. They're very direct. Mostly.
Yeah, right.
Except for Jakar, of course, he's not, but he's an ambassador.
And she's a good representation of that.
And yeah, and I think Jakar is direct. He's just not. He understands that in his job he can't be direct, and he's got to be, you know, sneaky, because it's, you know, it's an ambassadorship. But he's direct in his dealings normally with his staff and stuff. So yeah, and it's like a racial characteristic of the 3 different. Their aides very much reflect what you'd expect of the typical their species. Yeah. Did I miss anybody? Humans. I talked about the aliens. What else should I?
Oh, that's your deal.
I know, but is there anything else you think I should? Natoth is the station Dami Mommy. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised about that if that was true. Yeah.
Hey, Greg C, welcome.
Yeah. Oh, bears. Oh yeah, bears. Yeah. Yeah, I already watched episode 1 because I had to see what happened with our beautiful butterfly. Spoiler alert. Episode 1. That's only at the very end of the episode where she's scratching at the thing to come out. So we're actually, next episode, the first episode, we actually won't find out about Delin, what her deal is, until after that, I guess. Yeah, so I don't know. I talked about the humans. Is there anything else I should? I mean, I don't think. I mean, we know we're getting a new commander, new captain. I suspect he's going to be a little bit at the beginning. I mean, I was writing the show. He'll be at the beginning. He'll be a little less, not confident. He'll have to feel his way around. It's kind of like Sinclair was supposed to do. He'll lean on Ivanova a bit more at the beginning anyway, till he can figure out what's going on. What else? I think Garibaldi will be the same. Well, provided he doesn't die. But I don't think he dies, because I've seen, pictures from other seasons, and he's still there. So, and looking older. His widow's peak's getting worse. So I'm going to guess Garibaldi's not going to die. What else? Oh, I'm hoping to see more about Dr. Franklin. And Talia, I'm not sure what's the deal with her. I would suspect that her arc is going to carry on. She's going to be prominent whenever the Psycor comes up. And I think Psycor has something to do with the Earth assassination attempt and that kind of thing. I think there's a whole bunch of different groups that are all, poking around.
General comment. Because of what happened in season 1, with the casting and everything, and people talk about trapdoors and everything, I'm wondering if Straczynski didn't tighten things up and Well, and we'll see. I honestly I have to refresh my memory because I don't remember exactly what the pacing of every single thing was or what every single episode was. It's been a long time since I've seen the whole show. But if he's going to stop stretching things out and just throwing out these little dibs and dabs and, kind of get to it a little bit more about certain storylines for fear of, you know, having something similar happen, it happens with,
the Sinclair with that
yeah,
the actor.
yeah. So that's something we should probably look for and see if that comes true or not.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to talk to him and ask him that question.
That's not the kind of thing I don't think that you'd never get a straight answer on that.
Probably not. Maybe.
Oh yeah. So I made horrible mistakes in the first season, and I'm gonna and I improved on that. Maybe.
I mean,
maybe
it's 30
maybe
years
be
ago.
something.
Why not be honest?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I was gonna wait till Wednesday because I don't. We'll talk about the season. The next episode. We don't. Last week was our episode to talk about these sort of things, but we didn't really get. I mean, it was the show was 3 hours. Come on.
It was. But hey, also thanks for everybody who watched the episode. It is by far our most watched, correct?
I think so. I think it still is.
And that's not including the viewers from Jason's channel, which because it was simulcast. I hope you didn't spike his monetization with your lackadaisical
probably
monitoring of music.
Probably did, but he could go in and he could get rid of that if he wants to. We were talking about the demonetization afterwards. No, it's at 355 views so far. Hasn't been a week. That's pretty high for us. But the Babylon 5 show has been the last show, Chrysalis, was pretty popular too, 275. I mean, you guys can just go on there and take a look.
Okay, so
what a great question, Greg. So I just started up a Subscribe Star. I'll just plop the link in there. It's got I'm still working on it. I'm still getting where is it? All right, let me just grab it and I'll just pop it up. It's on the stuff.
Everyone support Sci-Fi Snob in his destitution.
Yeah, and my begging. The grift continues.
Yep.
There is the Subscribe Star. It's only got one. I was going to talk to Cam about this, but it's got one setting at $5 a month support. I'm going to put a $1 and a $2. I have already, but I haven't made them public yet. I got a bunch of names and stuff. If you want to, we appreciate any support, financial or otherwise. If you want to give financial support, that's why I'm bringing this up and doing this, so that people, if they want to support us financially, they can. The money will go towards improving the show, whether it be
none of this money will ever go to me.
Not
any of this theoretical money.
So whether it be computer equipment or subscriptions to whatever, anything like that, it's going to go to trying to improve the show in some way.
All right.
But if you don't want to, if it's not a requirement, if you want to, by liking the show, by sharing the links towards the show, that's how we get more subscribers and stuff. And that goes a long way towards helping as well. So, I mean, it's not required, but I know some people might like to do it. I've got, like I said, I got 3 tiers. Only one is you can see now, the $5 tier, but I have 2 other tiers for $1 and $2, and I was going to do a bunch more, but I'm kind of new to this stuff, so I'm kind of, feeling my way. How about supporting Cam's tool addiction? I'm not. The thing is, Cam doesn't want me to pay him because then he'll have to do what I say.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. The best thing, literally, and this is, I know everybody says this, right? But literally the best thing to do is share and like and crap, because getting viewers, again, we have very loyal viewers that come in for all the shows, and you're greatly appreciated. But we do need more. So
Yeah. Well, you guys are anything but a grift. Okay, well that means we got to start working harder.
yeah,
We
okay. Well, let's
obviously
work
haven't
hard.
been doing our job. Look, Greg he's it's one of those. What is it? It's like an insult. You guys are anything but a grift. Oh, okay, what are you saying? We're slackers.
Well, try to grift harder then.
That's right. We're not doing it right.
That's right.
Snobites. Cam's tool addiction. Yeah.
That's right. That's 100% self-funded.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's do a better job and move on to the next topic, shall we?
Yeah, and and $5 American. That's like 1,000 Canadian dollars.
Yeah,
right?
exactly. That you could buy a.
That's like I'd buy
car
a house with that.
Oh, wait a minute. I was gonna talk about titanium. I'll do this in 15 seconds. Stop making titanium is like a super metal, right? They need for things like spaceships. Stop
right.
making trinkets out of titanium, please. Aluminum will do great for trinkets if you need lightweight. Okay, thank you.
Titanium, and then of course there's what's next? Adamantium and vibranium. Those are the next ones.
Right.
Next higher.
Yeah.
Right.
Sure.
Mithril.
Oh, now mithril. I'd be up for that.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. So that's the grift. It's really for if people want to do it. Like I said, I'm still working on some stuff putting in there. The lowest level will be the $1 level will be I'm going to call it snob in training. You'll be a snob in training, and then level 2 is snob about town, and then the third level is the cottager snob, and there's a bunch of other ones higher after that. But it's not go to the share the links. That'd be great. And go to the Discord. The Discord's been starting to get a little busier. Who was on today? Was it Michael and Gojira talking about horror movies? Oh, I find them so scary. But they were on there talking about horror movies today.
On your Discord?
Good. Awesome. Yeah, on mine.
No,
so.
It's a sci-fi Discord. Go to Jason's channel.
Oh, they can talk about horror. It's fine. It's fine.
Sure.
No problem. Talk about whatever you want.
Okay. All right.
I'm not picky.
All right. Let's go. Let's move on.
All right. Did we finish? We finished everything with Babylon 5?
Yeah. We got.
Other than, the Psych Horror, the Doctor. Who else? Did I miss anybody? No, I think we covered. I guess Morden will be back a bit. I assume he's going to be. I think he's probably going to get killed or something. He'll be. He'll be killed later on, near at some sort of point when the war becomes full blown. They won't need him anymore to do sneaky stuff, so he'll be sacrificed.
There will be a new opening credits character in season 2.
Oh yes, I saw that. I think it's pretty funny. They just throw this guy in there, and it's like, I'm like, what? Who's that guy?
Yeah, don't get too excited about it.
Put in there. Yeah, he's a pilot. I saw the first episode. He's in the first episode. I thought he wasn't, but he is. He's in the first episode. He's talking to them like it's like, hey, who's that guy?
Oh.
I thought they should have maybe showed him a little bit or something, but did something. But I mean, we talked about it before. It's the military. People come in and come out. It's no big deal, right?
Yeah.
All right.
Let's go.
Okay. Let's go. Let's talk about Dread. You can take over.
Okay.
I told you this show's great. Great movie.
Absolutely. This I watched it, sat there kind of riveted the whole time. Absolutely love this movie. It's not Godzilla -1 level for me, which is one of my favorite movies I've seen in the last 20 years. But it's up there. It's like it was it was simple to the point. It portrayed the world well, and
yeah,
I'm a huge comic fan, but I know almost nothing about Dread. I mean, I'm familiar with the basic concept of it, but I never read any of it. I never saw the Sylvester Stallone movie, which I hear wasn't particularly good representation.
It was okay, but I understand it wasn't a great representation as well. And that was like in the 80s, right? Or 90s, sorry. It was in the 90s. So that's a 90s movie, right? It's got the 90s sensibility, what you'd expect from a Stallone movie. This one, what's the other one where the one with Simon Phoenix and like there's all they're kind of fit the same sort of mold. But anyway.
Yeah. But this movie was awesome. I mean, the script is actually pretty straightforward, or the plot, I should say.
Yeah, very basic.
It's not very long. It's about a little over an hour and a half, and just looking at some of the stats, it was like the budget. It said it was like $45 million or something like that, which
Really?
for pretty low for today by today's standard. Well, I guess 2012 standards. And it's basically just one storyline. It is kind of like one day or
One day in the life of
right,
Judge
one,
Dredd.
right,
One day, just one day.
Yeah, but I mean, it does such a great job of portraying the character, and I think you mentioned this on one of the other shows is you never see his face through the whole movie. It's Carl Urban, of Lord of the Rings fame and the boys and many of he's in Star Trek, J.J. Abrams Star Trek.
He's great.
As he's good. And in this movie, again, you never see his. I mean, you see he wears his helmet the whole time, and but he, again, I'm not an expert on the character, but he embodies what I think the character, should be or seems to be going for. That you get, there's all kinds of little bits and pieces that are put in about the world that again, sitting down, it's like I didn't feel like I was missing anything. It's like, yeah, I understand this world, I see what's going on here. I mean, dare I say, a masterpiece of filmmaking. That it just does absolutely everything it needed to do, and efficiently, and it left me wanting nothing.
It's way better than it gets credit for. It should have got way more credit than what it did.
Yeah,
it's a great movie.
I mean, and the story, again, there's great action in it. I mean, it's like I said, I was kind of riveted. It's immersive. I don't like. We're not worried about spoilers here, right?
Not really. I mean,
okay, so
it's over. It's 13 years old. I mean,
yeah, you get a little bit of an intro, and then you basically you've got Dredd, and he's basically assigned to do a training day with kind of a low grade recruit who doesn't
barely passed.
Well, didn't pass actually.
She didn't pass actually.
She actually failed it, but why is she there? Because she's a mutant that has psychic powers, so
and she can read minds.
And Dredd is kind of, he's just like, what? Why is she here? It's like he he's just like, no nonsense. He's like, why is she wearing this uniform then?
She shouldn't be. And I mean, that's some of the great at the beginning of the movie where he's talking to the Chief Justice and she's telling him, she's a marginal and blah blah blah, and he's like, ugh. And then he's like, all right, rookie, let's go. Mm-hmm. And then he says, what's the 3 ways that you fail, right? If you lose your weapon, she loses her weapon. What else? Incorrect. You make a bad judgment. I don't think she does that. But I forget what the other one was. Do you remember? Yeah, probably me.
I don't offhand,
but she's at the end. She's like, okay, well, here's my badge. I guess I failed because she lost her weapon. She gets taken hostage by the bad guy.
Yeah, she screws up a lot. I mean,
and then it's a great scene. He comes out. There's just pandemonium and there's everything.
See,
he comes out, and the Chief Justice is there, and she goes, so how'd she do? And Dredd looks at her and he goes, she passed.
Yeah, because it's, I mean, the situation they were in was like insane. Yeah. I mean, it's like everything went wrong, right? I mean, it was they were just investigating like a murder, which happens all the time, right? And they explained that there's he says 17,000 serious crimes a day or something, and they can respond to 6% of them. So they're basically, it's like they're in a losing battle, right? I mean, they are overwhelmed. And when you see in this world, you also kind of happens to tie into certain things going on right now in the world. But this is the kind of thing that makes people say, yeah, go ahead. Things are that bad that you don't care that you literally have one person making a snap decision whether someone lives or dies as a criminal.
Yeah.
But I think it also,
that's where the there's a point where at the very beginning of the movie, he's chasing the criminals, right? Like, it's a quick action scene, right? To start and and then the guy look behind him and he goes, "Oh shit, it's a judge." Right?
Right.
That
It's like
6% really gets the whole like, "Oh shit, Superman's here," like that kind of thing, you know?
right. They were
people
immediately to the point of
Yeah.
our odds of living just dropped as close to zero. You know,
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah, like when Superman shows up. So it's like, I think that's a great representation. That really gets you to know, oh yeah, this is a rare, you know, it's like seeing Superman or something. It is very rare. They can't be
Yeah.
everywhere at once. And that's
but
why there's so many criminals.
right, because and if it wasn't, they wouldn't be committing crimes, right? I mean, if they
Yeah.
were like there 50% of the time, they'd be like, well, we better not, you know. So they
Yeah.
they don't have the deterrence. I mean, they have the reputation, which is a deterrent when it comes into play, but you know, the crime is rampant, so it's
Yeah.
you know, they're just not enough. And but what I was going to say is, go ahead.
Yeah. Go ahead. No, go.
I was going to say that, you know, obviously this is to a liberal Western society, this is insanely brutal, right? I mean, they literally say, "You did this. I judge you to be guilty. Boom, you're executed."
And he shoots them. Yeah.
Right. But you see this world, and you're like, "Yeah, go do that," right? Because I mean, it's like, I mean, this is like, that's the way the situation is. It's like this is barely held together, and if they weren't doing this, it would be absolute anarchy, right? So that it does a good job of portraying that, but it also does a good job of portraying that they're not just running around randomly slaughtering people because, you know, trying to terrorize people. You know, Dredd is a by the book, you know, guy that's doing this, and the same thing with, you know, Anderson, you know, the recruit,
and Anderson, is that her name? No, Anderson.
You're
right.
So they're, you know, and he's, you know, trying to teach her the right way of doing things and all this too. So it's not just, they're not just a brutal force of, you know,
but they aren't squeaky clean, right?
Well,
because in the show,
clearly some of them aren't.
Yeah, they have these, they hire 4 of these judges and they come to kill Dredd.
Yeah. So the whole thing is, so they go it's just a routine murder investigation that they're doing.
Right.
And it ties in, it's like, okay, there's this whole thing in with this drug and this crime syndicate essentially that's, you know, grown up.
Slow-mo.
And so right. Yeah. There's a drug called slow-mo, which is
really cool.
Yeah. It basically reduces your perception. So you're experiencing everything for an extended period of time, including bad things. So for example,
100 times, I think they said.
Yeah. So the drug lord, Mama, played by
who's Cersei.
Yeah, right. Lena Headley is this
good portrayal, man. She does a great job.
Yeah, right. It's
awesome.
Brutal, just, you know, dead inside. You know, I mean, she portrays that very well.
Yeah.
And so they, you know, there was someone that was encroaching on their territory or whatever, and they just, it's like, just, you know, they skin them alive. They're like, oh, you give them the slow-mo too. So it's basically like they're being skinned alive 100 times longer than it takes them to normally die.
Yeah.
And then they just, you know, throw their bodies over. And then that's where, you know, they come in with this investigation. And then, so Dredd
some good cinematography with that stuff,
the
falling down from the...
Now, this had a little bit of Zack Snyder-ish feel to it in terms of cinematography, but it wasn't obnoxious. You know, it worked pretty well, I think, for the movie, and it wasn't overused. Maybe I'm getting too deep into this. This is not supposed to be a review, but anyway, so then they basically they stumble upon a much larger crime syndicate going on here, and so
all the slow-mo is being made in this
right,
apartment block.
Right. This is the source for it, and so they capture this guy who was the one who was involved with the skinning and everything. You know, this lower level operative for Mama. And they're going to take him out, and, you know, and so she's, you know, she gets word of this, and it's like, we can't let them interrogate this guy. Cause what was it? It was, you know, they arrest him and, you know, normally it'd be like, oh yeah, this guy's guilty. They're just going to kill him. Right. Or execute him.
Or ISO cubes or whatever. Right. whatever.
Right. Yeah. The general punishment is ISO cube, which I didn't read up on that, but apparently it's very unfavorable. You don't want to go in an ISO cube.
It sounds like an ISO cube. It sounds like you're in a tiny cube. I'm assuming like a 1 by 1 meter or like 2 by 2 meter cube, and it's isolation, so you can't see anything out of it or nothing. You're like,
yeah,
I think you'd go insane.
Right. They were threatening people with like 2 weeks in an ISO cube or something, like, relatively small amount of time,
Well,
you would think, right?
At the beginning of the movie, there's that guy who's sitting by the door, right?
Yeah, right.
And
a homeless guy.
And he goes, "Hey, vagrancy, when I come back here, if you're still here," they said like something
Better
like
not
6
be
months
here.
ISO cube or something like that.
I think it was less. I think it was only
Maybe it was less.
a short amount of time,
But then they come back, and they're coming out, and that's when the blast doors come down. The guy gets squished.
yeah, because so
Like,
well,
whoa,
you jumped ahead a little bit there.
Yeah, sorry.
So basically, they just the psychic scans this guy, and he's like, "Well, is he guilty or not?" And she's like 99% or something. He's like, "Not good enough." So again, portraying that they're not just, "Oh yeah, that guy looks guilty, I'll just kill him," kind of thing.
At least Dread isn't.
Right.
Don't know, but
Right. And so that's why they're taking him back for interrogation. And then that's why Mama loses it, because like, crap, they're going to find out, it's like, you're not going to do well with interrogation. So she decides we have to kill all of them because they can't, it's too far gone. So then they execute this whole plan where they lock down the whole building by putting out a fake signal. It's like, oh yeah, we're doing like a war game here, so you don't have to worry about anything coming from here because it's all part of the war game. And so that's what they do, and they basically trap them in there, and she's just like tells everybody kill them. So and obviously there's a lot of civilians that live in this place, people that
they slaughter a lot of people.
Oh yeah. Right, there's innocent people that live here. This is like a tenement building or whatever.
Yeah, the chain gun segment is just horrific, man.
You're getting ahead, man.
Sorry.
So it's basically like the two of them and every one of her goons and anyone else who wants to survive basically is told to kill them. 'Cause it's like, if you help them, we're going to kill you and your family and everybody. Because she's the absolute ruler of this place. And so it's like, okay. And so, basically they're trapped here trying to find where to go. And that's what it is. Now you've got this whole situation that plays out, and they're running across all these things. They have limited ammunition. They're trying to, keep this this witness alive, because he's a witness now. And of course he's working against them.
And Dredd says we got to bring him back.
Right.
Just pop him. But
you know what I loved about that also? I forget the guy's name. What was his name?
I don't remember.
Okay, the thug, yeah. It's like when Dredd was there after he got arrested, he doesn't say a word. It's just like he is completely silent. It's like, they don't have to read him as right. It's like I'm not gonna take any chance of pissing this guy off, right? But then when he's alone with Anderson, then he starts trying to work on her and intimidate her and all this stuff. Yeah.
She's a skinny, blonde, small, white chick.
Right.
Like,
and
she's not intimidating at all.
Right. But they have some good scenes with that where, it's like he's trying to, because, she's reading his mind and all this stuff. So he's trying to, play these games with her and stuff. And at one point he's, does something that they don't show that's disgusting, and she just like bashes him in the face. It's like, what do you think about that now, kind of thing. So I actually liked her character too.
Yeah, me too.
It's like you could tell she didn't have. They portrayed her as not having what it took to be a judge.
And she doesn't really. She's too compassionate. Like, look at the difference between her and Dredd. Dredd is a machine.
Yeah, but he's even famous for judges, right? They talk about that at one point in the story in the movie.
Yeah, he's famous for being an emotionalist.
Right. And she's playing it by the book and trying to do everything right. And it's not like, oh, she's just a screw up or anything, either. It's like they don't take things to stupid extremes. It's all believable, the portrayals, in my opinion.
Yeah, she's not, and she doesn't go through girl bossing it. Like, her character seems real.
Right. And even her psychic powers, which are, obviously a superpower.
Yeah.
It's like she's a mutant, and it's not just, oh great, I have superpowers and everything works, it lands in my lap. It's not so easy. Even though her powers are pretty extremely, they're a huge advantage, obviously. There
Yeah.
was a good scene with her. They were in the elevator. They're taking him somewhere, and she's like, he's thinking about
He's thinking about going for your gun.
going for your gun, and then he's like, he changed his mind.
Oh, he changed his mind, and
Yeah.
Judge goes, no, he goes, oh, what does he say? Sir, he's thinking about going for your gun, and then there's like a little noise, and Dredd goes, yeah, and he goes, oh, he changed his mind, and Dredd goes, yeah.
Right. And so
Carl is perfect. You see the picture I've got up here, like this expression on his face. I think this is the best expression that he has for like when he's Dredd.
yeah, he does it.
It's like,
Again, he's acting without being too emote, right? And he does a great job at it. I mean, it's just his actions and his body language, everything about it is really really good, and he just doesn't dick around with anything. I mean, it's like, this is, again, I can't say this is how the character should be, but if someone describe, I mean, what I know of it, it's like, yeah, that's what I would imagine the character should be.
yeah, I like this. Who was saying earlier about I guess was it Michael? He was talking about the representation. The Stallone representation is a good representation, actually, with the humor and the sarcasm. Oh, there it is. But I honestly prefer this realistic version of it, with the the less colorful and the more gritty and down to earth, which I think is kind of a bit more of a realistic one myself. I understand how the comics are much more like that, but
Yeah, and we get to see some of the technology, like their special weapons and things like that, and I think that's they don't go, oh, here's how it goes. I mean, they kind of, it just happens throughout the story. Like he's just like calling out the different shots that it does and things.
Yeah.
And like switching between them, expertly, and doing all that. It was cool. I mean, everything about it was well done, in my opinion. And you got to see, all of those things throughout. You also, one of the things, there's basically DNA linked to them. And so I guess other normal people don't know that, because lo and behold, when someone else tries to use your gun, bad things happen. Which was also cool. I don't know. I can't recommend it enough. It's, I mean, is it the second favorite movie I've seen in 20 years? It's up there. It's top 10. I mean, I liked it that much. And as I have the reputation, I don't like anything. So
that's true.
Yeah. Sorry, did I leave anything out you wanted to talk about?
No, I don't want to talk too much about the movie. I just will say, Greg, go see it. Just 2012. It's old. I think it's on Netflix or somewhere. Make a point to watch it. It's a great movie. It's science fiction, and it's just a good action movie. So Dredd, the reason that part of this came up was that Dredd 2 we've been talking about it. Dredd 2 is supposedly in development. There is an official trailer that came out in January. First trailer for Dredd 2. Another one, another official trailer. The Return of Mega City 1. One's Law, April this year. But I see other things about how the Dredd sequel's not happening. That's in 2024. So I mean, and I believe there was supposed to be a Dredd after this one, after the 2012 version, but it was canceled for some reason. I don't know why. But supposedly the people have been talking about it because another one is coming out, and that's from this year. There's some trailers and stuff, so we may see one coming out. Yeah, there's also these, I didn't mention it. There's supposedly a TV series of Mega City 1, or one about Dredd. So I'm not sure if it's a movie, TV series. I wouldn't call it TV series Dredd 2. Amazon is doing a TV series. So there's some stuff, but it seems like we are going to get more Dredd, and this version, this style of Dredd, which, would be great. The thing is that, I even thought about this movie, like they did, they've got a couple of big things in there. We've got a mutant. We've got other judges that are are on the bad. Are selling themselves and stuff. They're not as pure as we think. I think you could have just done a basic movie with Dredd going around, judging people and shooting them and stuff, and that would have been successful. But this is good. There's the stakes are higher, so it's a bit more interesting. Yeah, great show. I hope they do more. I like Carl Urban. I also he was in this show called Being Human. Almost Being Human. He was a cop, and he had an android partner, and he didn't like androids, and it was kind of a new thing, and he did a real good job in there. It only made it to one season. I was disappointed it didn't go any further, but nobody watched it. But it was good. It's one point in the series he gets like his wife is killed or something, and he's kind of he's that kind of cop. There's one point where he pushes his android partner out the car while they're going at speed. Like he says something nobody doesn't like. He pushes him out, and he gets in trouble, of course, because he's damaged police property. But it would have killed a normal guy. But yeah, great series. I wish they'd do more. I'd watch it. All right. I'm glad Cam finally took some advice from me and did something. Yeah, watch the show I recommended. All right, awesome. Makes me feel good. I had a good day. Cam's like, "Oh, I watched Dredd finally. It was really good." I'm like, "Hey, I told you. There you go. Made my day." You see, Snob is right about everything. No? Not going to agree?
Sure.
All right. Let's talk about Dark City. I just saw it last night.
All right.
You want to tell a little bit about Dark City?
Nope. It's yours.
No? Want me to go about it?
It's been I saw it in the theater when it first came out, and I read
really?
a little bit about it to refresh my memory, just not having anything to do with you watching it. So I don't remember a ton of details about it.
Okay. So it starts off with you've got a city. It's very kind of a 50s noir style.
It's dark.
It's dark. They got an automat, which is like from the 50s. I don't think it really caught on much, but kind of a 50s detective story. So there's been these prostitutes being killed, 6 of them, and this guy wakes up in the bathtub naked, and he's got this mark on his forehead. Somebody, little blood. Someone stuck something in his forehead. Wakes up, he doesn't know what's going on. He's like, "What the hell? I can't remember anything about myself. I don't even know my name." Gets up. He's like, "Oh, what the?" And he goes into the next room, and there's a woman there, and she's been murdered, and all these little circles on her body, like a spiral, like a spiral that goes, and then he sort of takes off. What we find out is that I don't know how much should I give away here.
Well, we said no spoilers again.
No spoilers, doesn't matter.
Even older than Dredd, so
yeah. I guess I should just go right with the. There's these aliens who look really ugly. Their human form. They're basically hairless and pale, and they wear black trench coats everywhere. They're basically they're a hive mind alien, and they are trying to find out their race is dying for some reason, and they've kidnapped all these humans, put them on this spaceship, which is the city, which they have an ability called tuning, and they can change warp reality. If they sort of all get together every night and they think about things, and they somehow change the city. So they're doing some sort of experiment because they're trying to find out what makes the human soul. Wasn't completely clear to me how this is going to work. They're trying to find out, what makes humans special, and somehow that's going to save their race. They're going to convert themselves into humans, or somehow it's a little bit, fishy.
It's a movie that is higher on concept than plot when it comes to it.
Yeah. I forget the name of the main character, the actor.
Rufus Sewell.
Rufus Sewell, is that him?
Mm-hmm.
What have I seen him else in? He's really good. Oh, he's good. I'm just like, oh, he was in A
He
Knight's
was in
Tale.
Man in
That's
the
right.
High
He was the
Cat.
bad guy in A Knight's Tale.
He was Man in the High Castle. Is the
Oh yeah,
American
yeah,
Nazi.
yeah. He's been he's good. I like him. And of course, Jennifer Connelly, Kiefer Sutherland, William Hurt.
Yeah, big
A
big
lot of
name
big,
cast, really.
a lot of some big names. So what they basically, I don't quite figure out how these aliens are doing this, but they're basically, sorry, the reason why they're doing it. They're changing the memories of everybody. They go in, and Kiefer Sutherland plays a doctor. He's the only one who knows what's going on. He gets to keep his memories. He goes around. He's putting memories into people's minds, and you're trying to that is somehow going to make them figure out what make humans tick or something. It seems a little suspect, but yeah.
It's kind of like they're running their own multiverse, where it's just like, okay, well, that didn't get us what we want. Now we'll tweak it and we'll try this.
Okay, Weatherman says they can no longer reproduce. Humans can and do it well. So they think because humans have special souls, are trying to produce that in them. Yeah, that's basically it. And there's some sort of hive mind with, like they're all they're individuals, but they're part of a hive mind.
That's right. Don't become communists. That's the lesson.
That's right. No communism. Yeah. So it's always night. The ship is like there's a sort of a ship underneath, and then on top is kind of like a, is the city, and I guess you don't see a dome covering it, but that's why it's dark all the time. They're between stars or something. That's why. So they just change people's memories, and people carry on with their lives. They changed where they live, everything. The main character, he has somehow developed the ability to tune, so he can change reality, but he doesn't know how to use it. And this isn't supposed to happen. It's supposed to take many of a human's lifetime. There's no reason why this guy can do it. But also Kiefer Sutherland, we don't know that he made it happen, but he is at least secretly plotting against these guys because he's got the syringe ready, which is supposed, if he injects it into our main character, then he can, John, he can, in an instant, he'll get a lifetime of memories on how to use his ability and then be able to fight this group, these guys. So, that's basically what happens. He finally, John slowly kind of finds out what's going on. He found out that he's been missing for 3 weeks. He left his wife, Jennifer Connelly, because she cheated on him. Of course, he eventually goes back and says, we might not even have known each other. You probably didn't cheat on me. You just remember that you did. They just change everything. He's able to learns how to control his powers by. They're about to destroy him, but instead, Kiefer Sutherland switches the syringe and gives him the one where he teaches him how to use his abilities. There's a big fight scene. He fights the head bad guy, and wins.
It's a crazy psychic powered battle.
Yeah. It's all flashes and stuff. It wasn't too bad. It was pretty good. And then he remakes the world how he wants, which is with some sunlight, because he has his memories of growing up in what was the name of the
Shell Beach?
Shell Beach. They're always like, I gotta get to Shell Beach. Everyone's like, how do you get there? He was like, I can't remember. The aliens don't like light or water. So he remakes it in Shell Beach. The ending's a little bit. I expected it, but it was a little disappointing in the sense that he remakes the world. It's kind of still the same, but he's like makes Shell Beach. He goes through a door, and then he's out there, and his Jennifer Connelly is on a pier, and she's sort of standing out enjoying the sunshine. He goes up to her, and he says, "Do you know where Shell Beach is?" And she says, "Yeah, it's right over there." He's like, "Ah." She turns around, she's just walking away, and then she turns back and says, "I'm going there. Do you want to come with me?" He's like, "Yeah." And that the movie ends. So it's a good concept. I would have liked to see a little. I like my sci-fi a little more less philosophical sometimes, but a little more. Hey, what's going on? What happened? And, oh, you know. But yeah, it was good. Good enough. I'm
Yeah,
glad I saw it.
yeah, I kind of feel the same way. I didn't walk out of the theater going, "Oh, this is dumb. I didn't like it." It was fine. But it's also
Wasn't the
kind of one
best
of
ever
those.
though.
No, it like I said, it's the plot is it really doesn't. I guess you kind of find out about it, but the plot itself is really buried by the setting, which typically I like. But this is one of those movies that like film students would really love to talk about, and
Yeah,
pot smoking teenagers would be like, yeah, man, this was. It's a fun movie to discuss, right? If you want to get into all that, and so fine.
yeah. Weatherman's right. There's a machine in the ship that does that. Aliens can tune to it. Human has the ability to. Yeah, I didn't say that. That's right. Yeah, even the doctor was forced to remove change his own memories, except for skills. Yeah, that's true. He thinks he's rebelling from the. I think he's rebelling from the beginning, long before the movie start. Yes, but he's trying to hide it. He doesn't. He's trying to figure out how to do it. We don't know if he says that he was attacked and he wasn't able to give John the memories they're supposed to. We don't know that that's true. But I don't see. We don't get any hint that it isn't. Third act kind of disappointing. The whole movie was entertaining. That's kind of my feel about it. It kind of ended very like you expected. Oh, he's about to get zapped. They change the thing, and then he fights them. He defeats them, and then he changes the world. Yeah, it was very. Yeah, I agree with Weatherman on that. Anything else about Dark City? Some good visuals. Great,
Yeah,
pretty good
the
look at the
style of
50s
it.
look, the
Yeah,
style.
the atmosphere of it, really, you know, top notch. And
Yeah,
again, this is before um the Matrix,
nin-
right?
1998 tech
Uh,
noir.
yeah, yeah, definitely. If you enjoy that kind of thing, it's definitely worth watching because of those reasons.
The Matrix was 99, right?
I
Yeah.
think so. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's just before the Matrix, but it's very, kind of a little bit Matrix like.
You know,
Um,
it what I just said there about if you like that kind of thing. I used to watch my group of friends and everything. We used to watch all kinds of movies all the time, and it, it's just very different from today, where it's like if I want to see a movie, I expect it to be this or that. And in the past, I didn't approach things like that. It was like you could watch a movie like this, and be like, oh, okay, cool, and because it wasn't wrapped up in other crap. You know what I'm saying? It's like I enjoy film and I enjoy sci-fi, and there's
I'm
something
gonna
to be
go to the
had.
theaters and take a chance on something.
Right. Yeah.
That is a cool name. I'll try it.
Yep. And it
So
had something
so
to enjoy. You know.
yeah, why doesn't that happen now? Number one, cost.
Well, I there's the I think that people don't have ideas anymore. That where entertainment has become okay. So how many? I don't want to blame it on comics necessarily, but it's one example. Is everything you know basically shifted to being about comic book. It's like, well, we ran out of other ideas, so we'll just make every comic book thing we can find. I'm a huge comic book fan. I would have killed for that when I was a kid or a teenager or whatever, or even my early 20s or whatever. I would have been all about more of that stuff. But it's too much of a good thing, it becomes a bad thing, and so people, Hollywood, I guess, just wants these formulaic movies. It's like, just give us more of the same, give us the same thing but make it different. Okay, great. And you don't see movies like this made much anymore, or at least not ones that ever make it to the theater. If they're maybe someone's doing it in their for their own, or on some kind of tiny channel or something. But just the whole nature of entertainment has changed. This is basic. Well, it's not pre-internet, but it's pre-social media at least. Can you say social media has ruined all that? And then the whole politics, everything is politics. idiocy that has taken over everything. Could you make a movie like this without being like, well, this is a movie about XYZ political movement, or I don't
Yeah.
know that you can. I mean, has artistry been destroyed in
I
our society?
I think it's there. I think it's still there, and I think there's a ton of writers out there that are writing all kinds of weird stuff, like weird science fiction that there's pushing boundaries and all that. The thing is that where they would get published, and you could go to the bookstore and you could find them, um, you know, and Hollywood would occasionally make a non-Marvel movie. Because hey, this is a good concept. Some executive was convinced that there might be a niche for this. We can make it for X million dollars, and even it doesn't need to be a summer blockbuster. If we just a couple good weeks and we can make our money back and more, that kind of thing. But that doesn't happen anymore because Hollywood seems to think that they need to spend $200 million to make a movie. People won't watch it unless it costs $200 million to make, and they're not willing to take a chance. I mean, would you take a $200 million roll of the dice on these on some unproven thing? You wouldn't. But if you made more movies for $10 million, you'd be like, oh, let's make it for 10. Let's bring in a bunch of no-name actors, and we make $20 million on it. We were good to go, right? They don't seem to want to do that. So they're making less stuff. And if movie prices were less, it was $5 to see a movie, Cam, you'd probably go, I feel like a movie tonight. You go there and you go, oh, what's this? Dark City? I don't know anything about that. That looks like a pretty cool picture, poster. What's that guy? What are they doing to that guy? Let's go see it. $5. Hour and a half of my time, right? So that's the problem, I think. There is stuff out there. It just doesn't get there. And I even think it doesn't get there in the book, in the bookstores. They won't, not going to take a chance. But that's a concept I've been, thinking around with. I think that there's a lot of book publishing has been taken over. It's primarily women who do that. And they tend to approve of books for other women that they think they will like.
Leftist women.
Yeah, and so there's this whole men don't read novels anymore. Yeah, because generally speaking, I mean, we didn't used to have what's it called, fantasy romance novels. Basically, it's a fantasy novel. It's a Tolkien novel type thing, and they threw in a bunch of it's like a romance novel, which men generally don't like, but they're taking over our fantasy now too, right? What's next? So I think those things don't get published because I've been to my local bookstore, and I'm the science fiction section is the smallest section. It's I went a couple weeks ago. It was half the size of the fantasy section, which I like fantasy too, but there used to be half and half. The anime section is huge. I'm at the manga and anime. I'm not surprised because I think those people are still writing good stories. But I would prefer to see thing. Yeah, no, James, I haven't read it yet. I'm sorry. It's kind of a busy week. There's a lot of stuff going around. Hollywood is addicted to CGI and diversity. Both those increase costs and reduce the quality. Yeah, I think there's some truth to that. Yeah, for sure. Well, tired of the remakes and reboots. Me too.
I think it's all going to get way worse because what's the big upcoming trend? Well, AI stuff, right? Well, AI is just supercharged versions of doing the same thing. It's all this. Yeah, I mean, it's literally just grabbing things that exist and mashing them together.
Yeah.
What the hell word?
I'm not willing to say what's going to happen. I think you're completely right about the way that they're using AI, and I've been watching a lot of these. There's a couple on my feed. There's all these. They're taking all these animation characters and making them to real life looking people. Like what I just saw one before from Toy Story, and I'm like, okay, that's like, and it looks good, like, but what's the point of it, right? It's just, make this cartoon character into a real looking person. Okay. And I think you're completely right about AI. It's basically takes whatever's there and mash it together and makes something like it. So Hollywood's going to like it because they think that that's what people want. Is they want, oh, they like this Marvel movie or this whatever. Let's just make more of that, but different, like you said. And AI is perfect for that. So we're going to see
is
more
what I
of
was
that.
looking.
Derivative.
It's all it's going to be like supercharged derivative.
Yeah.
And flooded with it because it takes almost no effort to produce this stuff now. I mean, so
Yeah.
Man, I don't know where things are going to go with this.
And I'm gonna. This is my problem with science fiction right now, Weatherman. I go to the when I was young, I used to go to the science fiction section of the bookstore, and you could see all the stuff that I like, all these the great authors, Asimov, Heinlein, Herbert, Niven, Brin, all these great authors. I'm just listing a few there. There's tons of them. All of them would be there, and you'd go through and you'd be like, oh, hey, look, this looks cool. I'm going to try that. And I read it and I go, wow, I found out this new author. He's got a ton of books already out. I'm going to read them all. And, it's awesome. But nowadays you go there and it's like, whatever's based on a movie, I'll see, the guy who wrote, the Chinese guy, his stuff will be on there, the Dark Forest and the Three Body Problem. You'll have the Dune books because there was a movie about it recently. And it'll be I can't find the stuff I do find. I'm like, who are these people? Like, are they any good? I have no guarantee to me that this will be as good as when I would read and discover Larry Niven or David Brin or any of these guys. So, and again, it's a small section too. So, I mean, that's why I say that there's no good science fiction after 2000. But that's not true. There's some good stuff, but finding it is difficult. You really got to dig. You can't just, I have to dig and find these artists, these writers, and then sort of go with their stuff and try it out. Very difficult. There's also some rules about. I've told this story. I read this story, and they won't publish anything unless there's some LGBTQ type stuff in it. I read this story. The author escapes me. I'll talk about it in the future. I think I put a review on my channel way back a couple years ago. But the story is in the story. There's a bunch of scientists. They found a way to. They found a sort of another dimension. And they can use this. They're using the dimension to put pollution into it. This company's putting pollution into it. It's very stupid. We can now travel through dimensions, or we can find other dimensions. The first thing we do is pump our pollution into it. Later on, they get to teleportation and more interesting stuff in the later books. But that's what the book starts out with. And the book has it's kind of mainly focused on these scientists. So these two scientists who work for the government who are supposed to check out this company and find out what's going on. There's another scientist there who is high up in the company, and she's not happy with how things are going along, and she's a little suspicious, and she's going to help them. And of course, there's the bad guy who the CEO of the company, he's the bad guy. So the scientist who works for the company is a female, and apparently she's black. The other two scientists are white. Now, you wouldn't know that it's a book. You wouldn't know that she's black unless only because they just tell you when they're describing her. And it doesn't matter to the story at all. Like, it's a bunch of scientists and they're fighting, they're getting together, government scientists with the other character, find out the evil and take it down and find out what's going on, etc. Right? Perfectly good story. But there's 2 points in the story, and I can't remember the second point, but one of the points is they've kind of stolen some information from the company. The company suspects them, and the female black scientist goes to the bar, and she's supposed to meet the other two government scientists there, and the CEO's thug, the security guy, who's he's the thug of the bad guy of the movie, is goes into there, and they have a confrontation, and she makes some comment about, yeah, it's because I'm black, isn't it? Something about a black independent woman or something like that. And I'm just like, where the hell did that come from? He's not. Doesn't care what color she is. He's doing it because, he's been ordered to, and she's been, stealing information, and our evil plot is going to be revealed if she hands it over to the government scientists. And I'm like, what the hell? Like, it's like the author's like, oh, I got to insert some, and so he makes the character say something that doesn't really fit with anything in the movie. Like the book is not woke at all. Except there's these 2 points, and I got to reread it to find the second one. And that's one of the points is an example where she's just like, wow, it's because I'm black and a woman and blah, blah, blah. Like, what? Where did that come from? No, it's because he's bad and evil and he wants to. Anyway, I've heard rumors that the big publishing companies won't publish anything unless there's some sort of something in there like that. And this was kind of thrown in there right out of left field, and I was left scratching my head going, what the heck? Where did this come from? And it kind of made me think that maybe these rumors I've heard are true, but I don't know. Yeah. Cam, you want to say anything about that? Nope.
Just your wisdom. Why would I want to add to it, or
yes, of
detract
course.
from it?
Sarcasm is no sarcasm detected. Right.
Right.
Yeah, it was just kind of weird. And this was a novel that I just sort of picked up, and there's 3 sets to it, and the guy got published, which is kind of rare. It's like kind of a little bit hard to get published nowadays, it seems, in science fiction. But yeah.
All right. Well, have we covered it?
All right. Okay, that's it for the show. I think we'll end off there. Yeah, I hope you guys. It was supposed to be relaxing, talk about these things. Next week, what are we doing? Michael's coming in. He's already talking about it. The next step of anime's live action version of beloved anime, Spaceship Attack on Titan. Okay, we are going to talk about anime next week. Michael is going to be on the show. He's going to talk about it. I don't think we're going to get through. We're just going to talk in general next week, and then a later show we'll actually look at one of the animes. We're kind of, I think Akira. Cam, what do you think?
That's the leading candidate right now.
I think that seems like a good one. I am not an expert on anime. I've seen a little bit of stuff, Ghost in the Shell. I've seen some of Attack on Titan. I remember Battleship Yamamoto, the version of that. The Western version, but yeah, we're going to go into that, and a later one we'll actually look at a show. I think that's the plan. Yeah, and this week, Babylon 5 on Wednesday, we'll be talking about the first episode from season 2.
Yep,
should be interesting.
Points of Departure is the name of the episode.
Points of Departure. That was the name of the episode. Yeah. And we're gonna close out season 1. Ended on a little bit of a cliffhanger. Garibaldi's still lying in med lab. What's gonna happen? We'll find out. I already know because I already watched it because I couldn't wait. I was like, oh, what happened in this? Oh, let's watch. So I watched it last week, but I'm gonna watch again. Yeah, so we're going with that. That's about it, I think. Did I miss anything, Cam?
No.
I think Jason's got a show tomorrow.
Oh yeah, he's got a busy. Actually, check out Sci-Fi for Me channel. He's got a busy schedule all week. So.
Really? Oh, he's making up for lost time, I guess.
Yeah, he's got a lot of stuff going on.
Right on. I think he's got 2 guys for an interview next week, something like that. Or sorry, tomorrow. I mean, show. Yeah.
He's got Paul and I forget the other guy's name right off the bat, but yeah, check it out tomorrow at 1 p.m. Eastern.
Yeah, I have to read new authors. I'm trying to do that, and I'm going to read your stuff, James, for sure. I got to try. I just got to find. I'm picky. I got to find good stuff. I got to take some chances. I gotta poke around and try to find something that fits my because there's a lot of crap out there. I'm worried. Like, look at all the woke stuff, poor storytelling in in movies and TV. So I got to make sure I don't waste my time. Yeah, I owe you $1. Sorry. Yeah, so I got to get into that more. Yeah, for sure. All right, that's it. I think. Did we forget anything?
Nope.
I think that's it for the show. Wait a second. We forgot.
All right. Goodbye, everybody.
Jokes, didn't we?
See you on Wednesday.
We forgot jokes. I got a lot of jokes today. How many do you want, Cam?
One.
One? Oh, that's not enough. Pick a different number.
0.
1 plus 4. Okay. So
I'm leaving after 2.
All these jokes are related to studying, of course, because it's independent study. What kind of ships do students study on?
Scholarships.
Oh, damn it.
I did it.
Oh, damn it. I think that joke should be changed. What kind of ships do pirates study on?
Oh, okay.
No,
I don't know. What kind of ship should pirates study on?
No, well, it'll be scholarships would be the same answer, but I can't believe you got that one. All right. Let's see.
Okay. I'll give you an extra one since I blew the bit.
No, you guessed it. You did the right thing. I don't like that one. All right. This is a story about this. Cam told me the story right before the show. He was telling me that a feminist had told him that he really needs to take a women's studies class. And so then Cam told her, there's no way I'm going to spend a semester studying abroad. Oh, I got a chuckle. All right.
Yeah, good one.
Why is studying better than sex?
I don't know. Why is studying better than sex?
You can finish early without feeling shame. Get it? Yeah. All right, last one. This is
so now we're at 4.
Yeah, the last one. Do you like chemistry?
Yes.
Oh, you do? Okay. Never drink water while studying. It'll dilute your concentration. Get it?
That's really not sci-fi joke. That's a science joke.
Well, it's studying, right? Never drink water while studying. It'll dilute your concentration. I said it was a chemistry joke.
Okay.
All right.
But I'm saying it's it's real science joke. It's not science.
Yeah, it is. See, we're learning stuff. Yeah, it's awesome. All right. That's it for the show. That's it for the jokes. We hope you enjoyed them. I don't see Death Angel Shadow in the chat. I guess he missed out. I'll have to watch the show afterwards. He was here, but I guess he's gone.
Yeah, like and subscribe.
All that stuff. We'll see you on Wednesday or next Sunday. Thanks for coming out, guys. Good night, everybody.
Good night.